Morning, everybody. Boy, I had a delay. I'm sorry for the delay. I had some to rebuild my NinjaTrader like an idiot. I renamed a workspace, and that caused a lot of issues. And I had to. It's just a long story. Doesn't matter. Um, Welcome to my channel. Yesterday was a wild day. Nothing huge, but just whipped back and forth. Right. And you looked like, oh boy, this market's gonna finally catch the Santa Claus, and it didn't. Right. So I had a nice short scalp. Now, yesterday's internals told the story. Really told the story. So um, when the market was up at the highs, internals were not very strong. That caused a big sell-off. I scalped some of that. In retrospect, when I saw that, I probably should have put a soft stop on something because I knew that if it ran, it could really run. I still made money, but there's always stuff you can adapt to. All right, always stuff you can adapt to. So, with that being said, today we have Michigan consumer sentiment. This morning, tech and semis are up. Oracle has something. We'll get into that news real quick. Like I said, I'm going to make today a lot briefer than I normally do. So let's just get right into it. Give me one sec. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets. Along supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Also use anchored VUps, market internals, bookmap, and my weekly expected move indicator that you can get for free on my Discord. Now, hopefully, you come join me every morning. All right, usually do this earlier without the delay. So, hopefully, come join me. Give you the market news, economic calendar, basically the what the market's doing. All right, give you the real story, technical analysis, and I give you the long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES futures. Okay, so what do we have today? What do we have going today? Let's get. Oh, actually, gotta mention my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Please come join me there. Give a live commentary. All right. Now we're gonna right into the futures watch list here. Let's look at it. We got Ethereum is up 6.61%. 6.61%. Okay. We have Bitcoin's up 3.87 at 88,000. Silver is still continuing to go up. 10-year yield is up. That shouldn't help out mortgage rates, but that's up 0.73. Crude's up 0.66. Nasdaq's up 0.20. Russell's up 0.17. The dollar's up 0.15. ES is flat. Dow's basically flat. Gold is flat. 30-year bonds are being sold, right? Drive yields higher. The VIX is down almost 3%. So the VIX is down almost 3%. Okay? So, moving on to Mag 7 Plus. Here's your Coinbase, up 2.26. Nvidia's up 1%. AMD up 0.82. Tesla's up 0.65. The laggard is Apple, down 0.32. Top sectors. Oracle. Oracle, up 4.83. There's a reason for that. 0.95 GEV. Laggard is the miners. Moving on to sectors. Sectors. Semis are leading the pack, followed by technology. Semis is up 0.67. Technology is up 0.42. Energy's up 0.07. The laggard today is staples, down 0.23. All right. Now, give me one sec. We'll get into the economic calendar. Give me one sec here. Pull up that economic calendar. Alrighty. So, at 10 o'clock today, that shouldn't be up there, but it is. Alright. We got Michigan consumer sentiment, existing home sales at 10 a.m. That usually moves markets. Okay? That usually moves markets. Now, the juice. What do we have with the juice? Let's see here. Let's see here. Fed Williams speaks at 8:30. He's already been speaking. We got the consumer sentiment. All right. Trump makes an announcement at 1 o'clock. Trump at Christmas reception at 5:45. Market will be closed by then. Let's see. 8:30. Fed Williams. Unemployment rate may have pushed up by distortions, maybe by a tenth, but not a surprising read. Okay, that's what's going on there. Is there any risk today? U.S. stocks are set to finish a tumultuous week on a stable note as traders prepare for the year-end stretch, which is normally supportive of equities. Bond yields rose following the Bank of Japan's interest rate hike. Today's quad witching. Forgot to mention that. Quad witching. I think it's a record for trillions of dollars to come off the books. Okay. Let's see if there's any stock news here. Usually give a nice little rundown. But Oracle jumps on TikTok deal progress. All right. Nike's down this morning. All right. We have, let's see, China, ByteDance agreed to deal to hand control TikTok app to new joint venture. It says including Oracle. Let's see here. Let's see. U.S. stock index futures edge higher as technology stocks extended their recovery from a sell-off earlier this week, while Nike shares tumbled after weak China sales hurt its quarterly results. Let's see. China stock rose, but ended the week roughly flat. The Nikkei closed higher, led by artificial intelligence-linked stocks, after U.S. peers rallied overnight. Meanwhile, the yen fell sharply as traders, disappointed by the Bank of Japan's decision to raise rates without offering much guidance on future hikes, drove the currency toward levels that could trigger official intervention. All right. That's what's going on there. Now, we're going to move on. Okay, we're going to move on. Just give me one sec here, folks. We are going to move on to daily charts. Okay. Let's check out these daily charts together. Not even sure who's with me right now because of all this delay I have. But we'll look at the daily charts. Now, on a daily chart, right? Look at this. We kind of had 3 days. We're starting to create a balance, right? So yesterday, what did we do? We went back inside last week's range for a second, right? We couldn't sustain it. So we're back into new weekly ranges for this week. We bounced right off the 5-day moving average. That was the low. And look at that. Not the day before. The day before that, you bounced off it as well. So a lot of people seem to be buying the 50-day moving average. Okay. Where are we now? 675.70. That brings us right here. You're at the lower third of yesterday. Okay, lower third of yesterday. All right, let's look at futures. Futures were underneath the 50. So different, right? You're underneath the 50 moving average in futures. So last week's lows, you're underneath last week's lows, last week's range. Okay, but we're kind of moving sideways. All right, today's quad witching, like I said. So usually you get some volatility followed by pace, maybe pinning by large gamma levels later in the day. Okay, that pinning happens a lot, large gamma levels. Okay, so that's the spine. So let's go to the Qs. Qs underneath the 50. That's Friday's close. Last Friday's close. That was resistance. Been in resistance 3 days in a row. That's last week's lows. So you made it up to the 50-day, sold off there. Okay. So again, the same kind of look, right? Let's look at futures. futures, you are hitting last week's lows, right? You are underneath the 50, underneath the 20, right? 9 EMA daily is sloping downwards a little bit, right? You bounced off the 100-day, so people bought the 100-day. So we're just starting a balance area, really, is what's happening here. Okay? That's what's going on. Now, I want to show you really quickly the I want to show you really quickly the internals from yesterday, because they told the story like they always do. Like they always do. All right, so here's internals. We'll go to the internals recap. Okay? Really quickly. So when we were up here, I want to show you something here. This is not a strong reading. Plus 108. These numbers were really high early on. Like the market was getting bought. But when they went up here to the previous day's highs, right? Did they go to the previous day's highs? Let me make sure of that. Yes. Previous day's highs just couldn't go up there, and that just boom, crushed. Okay? This let me know that, and I saw that, and I was like, man, because it has the VPOC up in the session, so that was kind of bullish, but the internals were telling me, man, we're not that strong, and that's what happened. Okay? So, I think I might just skip the hourly chart. We're going to get right into scenarios here. Okay. All right. Let's look at some levels here. So, we do have a poor low in the overnight session right here. A big demand zone. Now, this box signifies here, guess what that is? It's the most traded price of this year. That price is around 68.30. So 68.30 is now the most traded price of this year. Pretty significant. I will call that a bull bear line for right now. Okay? A bull bear line. Now the overnight session is inside the real-time trading hour session. Okay? We do have a poor low. Right? That is poor structure. It needs to be corrected. Will it be? Maybe. So we're inside yesterday's session. We're at the midpoint of the overnight. We're at the midpoint of yesterday. Not a great place to be. The most traded price of this rolling week is 68.44, let's call it. Now you have the most traded price of the year here, right? So we could chop a little bit. So you're going to want to be active outside of this and down below this. Don't get me wrong. If you're scalping, you can do it. Now you have a major demand zone here. Okay, major demand zone. We came and tipped our toe into this demand zone yesterday, and we got bought up. Okay. Now, what are some levels here? We do have a supply zone here. And that lines up with supply, overnight highs, value area high from yesterday. Okay. Most traded price of the week. All right. Now, let me get rid of this. I don't think that should be there. You know what? I'm going to get rid of this. This shouldn't be there. All right. Now, what else do we have? Well, we have right here the overnight lows, major demand, the most traded price of the year and yesterday. Crash? No. So that poor low in the overnight's probably going to get corrected before next year. No. I mean, when you say crash, that's a pretty strong word. So, nobody knows that. I mean, we haven't done anything. I mean, we did have a nice move from the tariff thing, but crash? You talking 35% move? 650 is not a crash though, buddy. Um, let's look at these levels here. All right. We got a nice level here too. A nice demand zone here at 67.71s. Okay. We have above us this 6882 as well. And that is last week's lows right here. Okay. Also yesterday's highs right there. So really the area to be active in is around the overnight highs, overnight lows. Okay. It's really where you want to be active. All right, let's just get right into scenarios here. I'm not going to waste any more time. I know I started late. Okay. Now, we are in no man's land right now, so I'm not very interested in that. So we're going to talk about, let's start with the bear side today. All right. Bears are in control still. Okay, they are. So we have supply here. First thing I want to see, you actually have a weak high here. So you don't have really a tail here either. So it's pretty nice to see the overnight session is really going to provide liquidity. Okay, so let's see if we move up here. Let's see if we hit that overnight high, fall back into range, put some lower highs in. I think we take this out. I think we can really take the low overnight lows out, test yesterday's lows. That would be a real key point. Okay, to see what we do here. If we take that out and we break that demand zone, you could find ourselves going a little lower. This is a major demand zone here. It's untested. Okay, maybe we go down to 67.70s. Below this is a woof. There is poor structure. Now I don't know. This was a crash, like Cole would say, but that would be a nice move lower. Do I think that's in the cards? I don't know. Okay, generally on a quad witching day, you get volatility followed by pinning. But there's been other days where we just have big price action. So you really never know. Okay, you really never know. I mean, other than that, if we went higher, right, up into this supply, and we found, because we're kind of forming this balance area. Okay, if we did come up here, let's say to 682, hit the month to date anchored VWAP maybe, put some lower highs in, we could revert back to the mean. Okay, now as far as bull side, well, I think there's a little bull trap that could happen. In this market, man, what I've noticed yesterday, if I was on a 1 minute chart really scalping, and when you zoom out to a 5 minute, there was almost no setup for me. I was like, geez, I would have had not really a good setup in 5 minutes. I would have been chasing. But I have to tell you, that 1 minute chart, I don't really get affected by the noise. It's like, all right, you have stuff to do a little bit. Okay. Now, prices here, horrible price location. Okay. Let's break this out. Forgot to do that. All right. So, what do I think here? Right? Well, I'd like a pullback. Take out this overnight low. Okay. And either you don't take out yesterday's low and recover, right? Put in some higher lows and you can start making your way back up, break that supply, maybe pull back and try to go to 68.82. Okay. One other thing that could happen, you can get a little more of a bear trap, really pull down, break this yesterday's lows, maybe come in, whoop, get a higher low, go back to the mean. Now, if the market catches a bid, you want to break that supply, break that poor structure here, and maybe pull back to then take out 6882. You have the anchor month-to-date anchor VWAP up here. Wait, is that the yes? Then you have the most traded price of the month up here at around 69.07s. Okay, that's what I'm seeing there. Now you could really run down here and maybe get a late day rally. I'm not really into that. The market will probably be very weak at that point. Okay, that is your ES. All right, probably going to leave it there. Let's just look at the NASDAQ real quick. It definitely has a balanced profile here, and it actually has better levels, to be honest with you. It actually has better levels. So this is really nice here. You got overnight lows and the RTH lows right there. Yesterday's highs and the overnight highs right by the last week's lows. Right, most traded price of the week right in the middle. So you really want to be active outside this overnight highs. I'm sorry, yesterday's highs and yesterday's lows. Okay, supply zone up here, but it's very tricky because right above us is the 50-day moving average. Right below us in the ES is the 50-day moving average, but above us in the futures. So that's why I think it's causing this kind of like, whatever. But inside yesterday's day, I think that you got to be active here and you got to be active here. Okay, inside here would be the little chop zone. You can get chopped up pretty good there. Okay, so that's going to be it for me, folks. Smash that like button if you enjoyed that. I know I'm a short today. I had a lot of issues, probably self-inflicted. So, but hopefully I still gave you some golden nuggets there. All right, subscribe, set that alert. Do this every morning. Give you the market story, market news, economic calendar, leaders and laggards, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in ES. Gave you a little bit in NASDAQ. Okay, give you a little bit. All right. Hopefully, you come join the Discord. All right, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. All right. Also, you can get that free weekly expected move indicator for the Thinkorswim, and it also goes to your app on your phone. Okay. So pretty cool. 70% of the time, market closes within those upper and the lower weekly ranges. All right, based on the options market, I run that via Python every Monday morning and share it with you for free. Okay, it's pretty cool. Tesla right now has hit its weekly expected move to the upside. I'm trying to see if anybody else hit expected moves. Oh, actually, Broadcom hit its expected moves to the downside. So did Coinbase. So that's not a surprise that Coinbase is pushing up. I'm going to see what Broadcom is. Broadcom is as well. So see what I mean? Those are types of things, right? When I see that, also Apple hit its expected move to the downside yesterday. Okay? So, everybody have a great day. Remember, no trade's a trade. Stay green, I hope. And if I don't see you in Discord, I'll see you guys next week. Be honest with you, this week, let's look at the calendar real quick. So next week is Christmas. I don't expect great trading next week. This is probably our last day of good trading for the year today. I don't. Next week, no big players are going to be trading the markets. It's going to be retail. All right. Today's our last day. All right. So I might not even do a video on Monday if I don't see some fireworks. But if I do see some fireworks, I will. But otherwise than that, maybe everybody have a great holiday and a happy new year. Not sure if I'm going to, what I'm going to be doing in the markets, but I pretty much know it dies out. Okay. All right, everybody. Take it easy.